Welcome back. So today I'm going to use some LED strip lighting, some galvanized strapping, and a few angle clips and turn it into this right here. I know it doesn't look great. There's a few reasons for it, and at the end of this video I will go over the pros and cons of why it's built this way and the materials it's built out of. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get to it. Now, this isn't the best way to build the structure. You can see it's wobbly. There's a few reasons for that. Me and the wife are currently house hunting, so I don't want to put in a lot of time, effort, or money into something that's going to ultimately get thrown away. These were super cheap LEDs, and I'll go over the pros and cons of those in a second. But the whole thing was meant to be disposable. Quick, easy, disposable. I built this in like 2 hours, including reteaching myself how to solder, which I think the camera cut out on, thankfully, because that's my soldering skills are an embarrassment. But the idea is cheap, simple, fast, disposable. These are all very, very low cost materials, very easy to get. It was like $14 for 100 foot. For this table, I used 2 arcs at 7 foot 10 inches, and then I didn't even measure this piece, I just eyeballed it. So 8, 16, let's say 20 feet. So I can build another 5 just with the strapping, if I really wanted to. I do have other projects in the future that this will be useful for. One cool thing about these LEDs is they're very directional. So if you move out of their, about 90 degrees perpendicular to their main light source, it goes away almost completely, which is very nice for doing distance work or something. But the idea of having 2 rows at 2 different arcs, and there's actually a multiple of arcs going around, is that it creates virtually no shadows when you're working. So you can get very precise cuts, very accurate cuts, and for the most part, when you're down here working, the lights are completely out of your sight. Now, you will have to vary the length of the arc for whichever table you're setting it up for, but I do want to stress that you want at least 2 arcs. You want one that's directly above your workspace and one at least 45 degrees. When I get a new house and build a final one, I'll do a more robust version of this, and there will be, I think, 4 arcs. One at a little above my head, one at 90, one at 45, and then I think one at 15, just so I get just superior lighting. And that's the point of this, is superior lighting, because I want to do videos, like I said on my update video, of doing work on this guy, which I want fantastic lighting for. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies that aren't apparent unless there's no shadow, and I want to be able to work on that as cleanly and as efficiently as possible. I'm also going to be doing some small model making, and lighting is very important for that. You want to have good lighting. So, pros and cons. Pros, it's fast, it's easy, it's disposable, and if you accidentally knock it with a project, you're not going to hurt the project. Biggest con is that it's flimsy. If I do hit it too hard, this hot glue was set at a temperature that it didn't really bond to the table. It just kind of temporarily stuck there. So a good hit and it'll just pop right off. But that was intentional. It will take time, but it won't damage it. It'll take time to reset it, but it won't damage the table. But you won't hurt your project if you accidentally bump into it, but it's far enough away that you shouldn't anyways. Another con, I used the cheapest LED set that I can get, and they're not made of virgin material. A lot of these are 3-foot strips that have been cut and soldered together, and soldered rather poorly. So I don't know if I got this on camera or not, but I did have to add a lot of little electrical tape to different various positions to insulate the solder joint from the strapping. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with a lot of shortages, and that's never fun. One benefit to these LEDs and using them with the strapping, even though it's more work because you have to insulate it, the strapping acts as a heat sink. Now, these LEDs don't really make heat to begin with, but any latent heat they do make is just radiated away really quickly by the strapping. All the holes in it, how wide it is, it's 3/4 strapping. So that's very nice. It keeps the cost of the LEDs a little bit cheaper, because the cooler electronics are when they run, they usually run more efficiently. They use less electricity. So it's nice to keep these as cool as possible, even though they don't make a whole lot of heat to begin with. One thing I would like to do in my future project is get rid of the strapping and use aluminum channel instead. It'll be more rigid, more robust, so you can't go knocking it around with your project by accident. You just have to be a little more careful in that respect. But you don't have to, you never have to worry about it. So I want to build actually a larger enclosure and, like I said, multiple tiers of lights instead of just two, and eliminate this backstrap if possible. One really cool thing about strapping and thin metal in general, well, just metal working to begin with, even a slight bend in the metal increases its rigidity amazingly. This stuff wouldn't be able to support itself just if I just flattened it out and stood it up. It won't be able to support itself. But it can support it now with just that slight bend, that little crimp I put into it. It can support itself and hold up these two rows as well. I wanted to do this project as cheaply and quickly as I could for a variety of reasons. It's to show you guys how easily you can make something like this, because I think this whole project cost me like $40. For something like this, it's dirt cheap. It's daylight lighting, which is the color temperature of the lights, which is a little bit easier on the eyes than, fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights give me migraines. So it's cheaper. It's fast to put up. It's disposable when it's necessary. If you accidentally hit it, it's not going to damage your whatever project you're working on. And it does eliminate so many of those shadows that really plague people. And I know that right now I don't have a problem with my eyesight, but as people do get older, it's harder and harder to see things. And eliminating shadows helps tremendously. So if you're like 40, 50, 60 years old and you still want to work on some detail projects, invest in building something at least like this, if not going well and above. And when I get a new house, when we buy a house, I'll be showing you guys the Cadillac version. This was half a proof of concept, half a proof of concept to me, because I've seen guys build things similar to this, but I've never figured, do they really work that well? I'm not sure how well the camera picks up on it, but the lighting in here is stunning in the work area. And it's crazy because just out of the work area, it gets dark. This is a huge benefit, having this here. It uses almost no electricity, which means the less efficient bulbs that are in the basement, I can turn those completely off, use less electricity, and have superior lighting. So anyways, if you can spare $40 in like 2 hours, build one. Seriously, hands down, build one. This is, in my mind at least, an overwhelming success. Again, cheap, easy. I use Simpson Strong Ties as the angle iron just because I didn't have to do anything with them. They are thin, galvanized sheet metal. You can use those. You can, buy angle iron. You could make your own. If you really wanted to, you could even bend the bottoms of these straps, cut them, 2 inches longer and screw them right into the table if you wanted. There are so many different ways to customize this that it's incredible that you don't see more of these, especially for model makers. I know Adam Savage got really big into flexible lighting and movable lighting on his channel, Tested. And I think one of those might end up being the secret link for this video. Maybe. You need to click to find out. Anyways, and he got really obsessed with point lighting. And while point lighting is nice, I think, I'm not even sure what to call this, global lighting maybe, is far superior, because instead of just having one area lit up to work on, everything's lit up, there's no shadows, and I mean, just to say that there's no shadows is a huge selling point for me. I don't know about you guys, but this is really going to help with all of the future projects that I do in this space. It really, $40, build one yourself. It takes almost nothing, really. As always, guys, there will be links to all my materials in the description below. There are Amazon affiliate links for everything that you can get on Amazon. Click them, buy stuff from them, because if you do, it indirectly helps me out and helps me grow. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I do my best to release content Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm trying to get back into that rhythm, so hit that subscribe button and see what I do with this. I have a few Manliness Mondays up. Don'ts for Boys is the series that I'm working on right now. Advice from 1900 1906, 1902, something like that, for kids, which some of it's good, some of it's insane, some of it's borderline racist, and I do go through those. I think I go through like 10 lessons per episode. Then I have Philosophy Wednesdays. I did another round with actually Mike and my little brother Ryan, who was in for my stag party right before my wedding. Join me, have fun, learn something, relax, kick up a beer, grab a cup of coffee, and try and make something. There's nothing better in this world than making something with your own hands, especially when it works and you can share that with people and it helps you with other things that you make. It's just a great feeling. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and thank you for helping make this world better, one kerf at a time. I'll see you later.